Okay, let's just jump right in. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to decode a structure that is honestly one of the world's most impossible architectural feats. We're talking about a place that has baffled scientists, terrified sailors, and mesmerized historians for literally centuries. I mean, think about it. How exactly did a 13th century stone temple manage to predict eclipses and disrupt compasses? It sounds like science fiction, right? But today, we're unraveling how this ancient engineering blended seamlessly with magic, myth, and hard science. This is an absolute masterclass in innovation that feels way, way too advanced for its time. Just take a second to really look at the sheer scale of the Konark Sun Temple complex, right on India's eastern coastline, in Odisha. Built by King Narasimhadeva I of the Eastern Ganga Dynasty, sometime between 1238 and 1250 CE, he didn't just commission a building. Oh no, he built a monumental stone chariot. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the cosmic stone chariot. Second, astronomy and hidden symbolism. Third, the heartbreaking story of the boy who saved 1200. Fourth, magnets and levitating idols. And finally, the fall and global rebirth. All right, let's kick things off with part 1, the cosmic stone chariot and its monumental vision. You know, the very name gives away its entire purpose. Konark comes from two Sanskrit words, Kona, meaning angle, and Arka, meaning sun. Built to honor the Hindu sun god Surya, the temple's alignment is so flawlessly precise, and I mean mathematically perfect, that the very first rays of the morning sun strike its magnificent entrance, brilliantly illuminating the path right into the sanctuary. To put this into perspective, its main tower originally stood about 200 feet tall. That made it the absolute highest of any temple in India at the time. The whole complex was designed as Surya's colossal chariot, basically meant to be pulled across the heavens by 7 massive, powerfully sculpted stone horses. Moving on to part 2, astronomy and hidden symbolism, where we decode these stones. Okay, so this wasn't just beautiful art. It was incredibly advanced 13th century Vedic astronomy. The chariot sits on 24 intricately carved wheels, but they aren't just decorations. They represent the 24 hours in a day, or the 12 months of the year. And those 7 horses, they represent the 7 days of the week, sure, but also the 7 colors of sunlight, the visible spectrum, and the 7 musical notes of a dissonance. Now, here's the crazy part. The wheels are actually incredibly precise sundials. The 8 major spokes break the day into 3-hour periods, and the tiny carved beads between them, they let you track time accurately down to an astonishing 3-minute interval. Literally, a stone watch. And it gets even wilder. Beyond those 3-minute sundials, the entire temple was designed so that on the June 21st summer solstice, sunlight would shoot straight through the main gate and strike a diamond right at the crown of the sun god idol. Plus, those 8 major spokes we just talked about, they perfectly aligned with lunar nodes. That means the priest could literally read the stones to predict eclipses centuries before we had modern instruments. Oh, and on the equinoxes, the main tower would cast absolutely 0 shadow at noon. 0. Now, you might be wondering about the thousands of erotic, tantric carvings all over the base and pillars. Well, they actually had a dual purpose. Yes, they symbolized the spiritual fusion of cosmic energy, Shiva and Shakti, but according to medieval belief systems, these specific poses acted as mystical lightning rods. They were quite literally carved to protect the colossal stone structure from lightning strikes. It's just this fascinating, genius blend of the deeply spiritual and the highly practical. Let's shift gears to part 3, the boy who saved 1200, the legend of Dharmapada. 1,200. That is exactly how many master craftsmen King Narasimhadeva recruited for this massive project. And he gave them a super strict deadline, exactly 12 years to finish the temple. Well, as the 12th year approached, the crowning stone of the main tower still couldn't be placed. The king, absolutely furious, threatened every single one of those 1,200 workers with execution if that stone wasn't perfectly placed by morning. This brings us to the famous Odia legend of Dharmapada. He was the 12-year-old son of the chief architect. According to the legend, Dharmapada visited the site, saw the total despair of his father and the artisans, and secretly climbed the massive temple at night. He actually managed to solve the engineering flaw and place the crown stone himself. But knowing the king would execute the 1,200 craftsmen if he found out a child had done what they couldn't, Dharmapada made the ultimate sacrifice. He jumped to his death into the ocean below, protecting the workers' secret and sparing their lives. That brings us to Section 4, Magnets and Levitating Idols. Let's look at the myth versus the science. So the old legend claims a massive 52-ton lodestone levitated a 1,200-kilogram sun god idol mid-air inside the sanctum. It was also said this magnet was so incredibly powerful it dragged passing ships to their doom by messing with their compasses. But let's look at the facts. Modern physicists point out that while the iron-rich sandstone used in the temple actually does disrupt compasses, which perfectly explains the maritime navigation issues, the rare earth magnets needed to levitate a huge idol simply didn't exist back then. Instead, those brilliant Kalinga architects most likely used an optical illusion with strategically placed iron beams and mirrors to make the idol appear to just float in thin air. But honestly, whether that magnetism was real or just an illusion, it absolutely terrified European sailors. Just listen to this quote from the journal of Captain Thomas Bowery in 1698. He wrote, "The Black Pagoda stands as a dark sentinel upon the Bay of Bengal, its stones seeming to draw vessels to their doom upon the shallow reefs." They called it the Black Pagoda. It was this ominous, dark silhouette on the horizon that they totally blamed for all the shipwrecks along those shallow reefs. Which leads us into our final chapter, Section 5, Fall and Global Rebirth, looking at its endurance and revival. So the temple was completed in 1250 CE, but its glory was unfortunately interrupted. In 1568, a Muslim general named Kalapahad invaded, displacing the temple's massive archstone. This catastrophic damage triggered the gradual collapse of that incredible 200-foot main tower. The sacred sun idol was hidden away, the temple was completely abandoned to the encroaching forests, and get this, it even became a haven for pirates. But that wasn't the end of the story. By 1986, it began its cultural rebirth with the inauguration of the Konark Dance Festival, celebrating the very Odissi dances carved right into its stone walls. And in 2023, its imagery took center stage globally at the G20 summit. Today, it proudly stands as a globally protected World Heritage Site. And you guys, the conservation methods they use today are just as fascinating as the ancient engineering. Did you know conservationists actually use unique microbial cleaning methods? They literally deploy specific custom bacteria to eat the damaging algae right off the ancient stones without eroding any of those precious carvings. I mean, how cool is that? The legacy of the Konark Sun Temple is still very much alive in modern India. In fact, you might recognize the iconic Konark wheel from the back of India's 10-rupee note. But even more recently, a massive replica of this exact wheel served as the breathtaking backdrop in New Delhi, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi greeted world leaders at the G20 summit. It's really the perfect symbol of India's ancient technological mastery greeting our modern world. Which leaves us with its final lingering thought. When we look back at the magic, the complex math, the precision sundials, and just the sheer staggering human ambition of the Konark Sun Temple, it really forces us to wonder, what modern monuments, if any, will leave our descendants as baffled and awestruck as this stone chariot leaves us today? Will anything we build right now captivate humanity 800 years from now? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating journey with me. Keep wondering, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.